Hello, welcome back to Intelligent Design. I'm your host, Dan Felder, and here's where we talk about incredibly well-designed games and what makes them so intelligently designed. So today we are playing Magicka, the original campaign, and it is going to be fantastic. I love this game, I've played it a lot, and we're going to dive right into what's going on. So one of the first things you notice when you start Magicka is you actually have a bunch of different options. Why? Because you're probably getting this in some sort of bundle that has these days that has a million characters. The problem is a lot of these characters change the fundamental mechanics of the game. Like some of them might say, hey, life doesn't, using healing spells don't heal you, they hurt you. And people often choose something that looks really cool, like this guy with the space robe, and he actually can't be healed at all. He has passive regeneration, and the tutorial does not adapt. That's not good at all. What they really should do is let you buy them, but force you to unlock them. Now I'm torn between starting with the elite robes, or the normal robes with just the fancy hat. And I'm going to do it with the fancy hat, because we're going to see the game as normal as we possibly can. Alright, let's start this game, and it's amazing.
Stay a while and listen, and I will...
We're going to skip the opening. It's actually really funny. The whole point of Magicka is that they are trying to subvert your expectations and encourage experimentation.
Je var Vlad, och je var noll vampyr. Ni var valda spatsen havendir, och hjälp odir.
Alright, right from the start, he says, good morning, I'm not a vampire.
Grimnir borts, monster I skogen, oder hjälp, je Vlad, null vampyr, ni spatsen havendir.
So, that's the setup. Even if you skip the opening, it gives you the very basics of the setting, which is really good and it gets you across really fast. So, he's not a vampire. Absolutely not a vampire. Immediately makes you wonder why he's saying that. And he's called Vlad, and he kind of looks like a vampire, and that's a little strange. And immediately creates some curiosity in the player, and implies that there's more going on than just the obvious right from the start. The whole point of Magicka is they need to get you into a situation where they encourage you to experiment. Magicka is a fundamental subversion of everything that looks like one of these top-down Diablo-style graphical games. You start out at basically full power once you finish the tutorial, and you have all your power. Everything is based on experimentation and learning. So their goal is to get you a sense of curiosity, discovery, and experimentation. And they want to make sure that everything you do produces something fun and interesting. They start you with a mystery right away, makes you wonder, what's going on with that? And now everything they click is going to give us some sort of reward, either funny or useful or interesting for talking to people.
Vlad is superlek. Erifir vampiri? Nesadori kankei.
They keep hammering this in. Now, I'm probably going to be talking over dialogue because it's all gibberish. The devs just sort of improvise the whole thing.
Look ner dunka dunka midgår hjälpenfest. Alhaster vi oster.
Yeah. Which is actually great because it lets them do the voice acting without people realizing the voice acting is bad. Because the language is entirely fake. So, we could go around here. There's some funny stuff over here. There's some funny stuff up here. You are rewarded and you can never come back just by investigating, but you don't get any stuff. So we're just going to go down to jump into the real action.
Surrender! Vi startade dunka dunka redan. Men jag är rädd att vi har halvt oster. Bli inte arg. Baileys bättre klättertorn, ju mer oster.
Out of cheese, Balak went to the Eastern Tower to get some more.
Wow, titta ge! Ge Grimnir, ge skapar neder!
Grimnir's talked about a lot in the opening, but we skipped it, and he says, hey, Grimnir invents magics. What a great setup.
Mår bra när ut. Spattar en väg upp. Ge vi hålplankar. Rembra, säkerordet är bananer.
Alright, that's a little weird. Make you scratch your head. Magicka is a game where you can experiment and combine up to 5 elements to create spells. Right away, they don't say you can combine 5 elements to create spells. You can experiment and combine up to 5 elements to create spells. Experimentation is important, as there are thousands of combinations at your disposal. Experiment, experiment, experiment. But to conjure any elements at all, you first need a staff. Get one from the weapons rack. This is to teach you that you can interact with objects. I do not know why they did this. You almost never need to interact with any objects. This actually, since I've watched many people play this game in the game lab, I got it in, I installed it, I made sure people played it as part of the thing. This is where they almost always get stuck. The rest of the tutorial flows smoothly, but it's these things that get stuck, and you don't need them at all. I feel like this part of the tutorial was very poorly set up. We click that, or we get our stuff. Life. life type beam. Properties heal, cure poison, damage undead. Opposites arcane. Simple. Now I love that they call it life. They use green for healing. Very good. Tells you what's going on. It seems you've taken some damage from your fall. Now that you have a staff, you can heal yourself. Conjure life by pressing W. Nice. Now that you have a life element in your spell bar, cast it on yourself using the middle mouse button. Now the problem is people start trying to click, move around, they can't cast it. They often don't see that this exists. Most people are so focused on the glowy green in the center that they don't actually notice this to the side. I've had to call their attention so many times to the corner in the side that's subtle and it's not where their eye is, that it's completely silly. Anybody watching somebody else play the game notices this, because their eyes aren't focused on the same thing in the action. They're wandering around the screen. They're trying to entertain themselves because they're not playing the game. They're looking for something to stimulate themselves, so they notice this. The person playing the game does not notice this. This is very rarely noticed. And this big green glowy thing in the center, which tells you have this element conjured, calls your attention. Not great UI. Especially since we just had a giant hint in the center of the screen, which says, hey, here's information. And now we put the information down here. This is inconsistent. This is poor design, but the rest of the tutorial is utterly brilliant once we get out of this rope. Alright, so, cast on yourself. Which is also awkward, because the first thing they teach us is how to cast spells on yourself. Which people assume, hey, life. I cast life spells. This middle mouse button is how you cast spells. This is not true. You almost never cast spells on yourself. The first thing you do is to cast spells on other things. The people will often end up setting themselves on fire and hurting themselves in the next part of the tutorial. Big mistake, if you ask me, to teach life first. Now, it's important that people have a way to heal themselves because you can easily hurt yourself later on, but teaching this, so it might have actually been required, but it was certainly very, very awkward that you have to teach people the wrong way to cast most spells first. Alright. So here we learn something that is also completely irrelevant to 99% of the game, that by shifting and attacking is how we get... shifting and clicking is how you get through that rope. Earth. See, again, information is in the center of the screen. This is like the nuclear option. It's basically a pop-up ad. So they try to use it as little as possible, but unfortunately it also establishes that this is where most of your information is, whereas these hints over here are so subtle and often obscured by Steam alerts. Like something will say, hey, your friend's playing this game. It might pop up over an important piece of tutorial information. Not great. Okay. So again, they wonder, how do I get through this? I can examine it. It looks pretty weak. Can I attack it? Well, I've just learned that slicing through ropes, that's how I slice through ropes, now I'm sliced through this. Doesn't work. Oh, now it's working. I can hear it hitting. Taking a long time. Alright, obviously this isn't working. So, over here it says conjure 3 earth elements and hold the right mouse button to charge the force of your spell. When the spell is fully charged, release it against the wooden boards. Again, they're giving us a really complex thing first. Why can't I just throw the spell at them? That's not enough. They want me to conjure 3. So the idea is that I can have more than one element. Okay, but why not just let me learn one element to cast one spell first, rather than learning 3 all at the same time? That's great, though. You can see that you get the sense of charging up, and then there's a sudden animation that says, okay, something has changed. Something is fully charged. People often realize that that means they're fully charged. Alright. Fire. Fire is type spray. Damages over time, causes panic, dies, whatever. People don't really read all that, and that's fine. Now, they start to figure out what's going on. This is the first time we actually learn to cast something normally. We use one element, and we light that, and hey, that creates that. Now, the cool part about the tutorial is here's where it really starts getting good. Because people start trying to say, okay, here's how I cast spells, here's how I do stuff, and the rest of the tutorial is set up like a puzzle. It's set up like a puzzle. They say, like, hey, that torch extended this bridge, but now there's one over here, and there's a torch over here that's already lit just to remind us that that's how we do this. They didn't ask us to remember that this is how a torch is lit, this is what a torch looks like. They put another one here just to remind us what one looks like. Very nice. So how do we do that? Well, fire. Nope. Now this over here is going to tell us exactly what to do, but people who don't want to read that, who almost never do read that, just try to figure it out for themselves. So fire does not reach. Okay, how about 5 fire? Doesn't quite reach. Can I walk to the edge? Not quite. And so then they start trying other stuff. Ooh, that's like a beam. What if I try earth? Can I hit it with earth? I can, but I need to get it with fire. And that's where the central idea comes from. Fireball! That is cool. This is where the game turns on. The idea that you can get different effects and accomplish different things by combining elements. And now people want to get through. And also, look how fast we're getting elements. This is super satisfying. Learn a thing, do a thing. Lightning will charge this. Cool. Checkpoint! Alright. So I go through here. There's information, but I'm not going to be reading it. Oh, there's lightning things. Okay. Whoa, what's going on? So, this happens a lot because what happens is if you get wet, trying to use lightning kills you. And it puts you right back here. It doesn't ask you to redo anything. Very nice. So, the cool thing is, Magicka does something that I call the Canny Valley. Now, you might have heard of the Uncanny Valley, which basically the closer something gets to looking realistic, the more creepy it is in the parts that are not realistic, or the more disappointed we are. When somebody is looking at a fully realistic game that looks beautiful, like something by Skyrim or something like that that looks super realistic, we're kind of disappointed by weird things, like being able to put a bucket on the shopkeeper's head and steal everything, or that we can't really easily sit down in a chair or something like that, or that if you put a wood into a fireplace, it doesn't catch fire. Like, this is a little weird because everything looks so real. The other parts of it are disappointing. And if you look at for your full immersion of like a really, really, really lifelike looking robot, it's super creepy very often. Super creepy. This is called the Uncanny Valley. So what's the Canny Valley? Well, the Canny Valley is something that looks completely unrealistic, the more delighted you are when it behaves realistically. So when we say, oh my god, walking in water actually, like, I can't use lightning. This game looks super unrealistic. Why would it behave that way? But it does. That's satisfying. And people think, huh, how would I undo the water? Well, I have the fire. And again, this is going to show us tell us what to do, but often people ignore this or don't even notice it, and they try to solve the problem, which is great, because people who are lost can just check here for the answer. People who want to rebel against the tutorial, that don't want the instructions, they try to figure it out, and they feel satisfied. Even though this information was super important early on to get us basically through things, now that we have some internal logic, we have the ability to figure out what to do with elements and how these things work. That is really, really, really effective at making sure the tutorial is ideal for everybody involved. So, cast that. Doesn't work. Cast it on ourselves. It does work. And now we're dried. This is where I really see the game start clicking on. People feel like, huh, could I dry myself? And they cast fire on themselves, like, oh my god, I dried myself! And the idea that the game has this internal logic, and they show you the elements, is super important. Now, the fact that you walk through water, you can't use lightning afterwards, is not relevant very early. So why would you teach it? Don't teach anything that you don't have to, right? Well, the thing about it is, it shows the fact that you can figure out, the game has an internal logic, and that by trying to think about how to accomplish something, by trying to think in realistic terms, without the game's help, you can actually solve things, that the game has an internal logic. Alright, so we're going to go over here, and basically they show us that you can shift-click and do AoE. So we're going to do that. And that shows we can hit both of these at once. Cool. Now this is arcane, okay? We basically need to hit that from afar with lightning, so we're going to combine that. No problem. Now we can make a lightning beam! Or we can do lightning around us. Or how about lightning and fire? Wait, how about earth? Nope, that cancels out. Right, because lightning and rock cancel out. How about this? That's flaming lightning! Can we do a flaming lightning beam? We can! Alright. Now we've got to go through this section. Cold, alright? This is where people die as well, because this information is really important. It happens right before you're walking into there. And it says, the cellar is flooded, wizards can't swim. So people accidentally walk in there and die, and it's kind of funny, but it's a little unfair. They probably should have popped it up over here. And again, a more obvious hint would be very helpful, because the hint pops up right here, as you might not even be able to stop in time to read it, even if you did notice it and you weren't focused over here, which is where you are focused, because that's where your mouse is to keep you moving forward. Not great right there. A lot of people die, but we're not going to. Look, I can start using cold to go across that. That's kind of cool. But how about this? That works. Water. All right. Obviously, you use water to get rid of fire. People don't even have to read the hint at this point. How about a water beam? Does that work? That works. So right away, the cool thing is people can do the obvious thing, just use water, or they can start trying to get clever, and their cleverness is rewarded. The game doesn't say you must press this button to do this thing. It provokes a challenge, and it has an obvious answer. It tells you an obvious answer, but it rewards multiple ways of solving the same problem. And even though if that was just 100% necessary based on the game mechanics, it's really, really useful. It doesn't say, press this button, then do this thing. It says, here's the challenge, get through it however you want, here's a way to do it. And so people who are more likely to rebel against that are more rewarded for the experimentation. All right, we're going to pick up this book. You learned haste. This is where people start having problems. You should be able to use the haste to pass the masher. Navigate through your list of magic. So you hit the scroll wheel. When haste is selected, the elements that you need to... Anyway, this is kind of confusing in that you have to actually queue up these exact elements in a row. You get a special effect that is not normally done. So if I queue up lightning, arcane, and fire, and then cast it, I get a lightning fire beam. Cool. But if I do that exact pattern and then hit spacebar, I get haste. So I can now use a special effect. Now this is how they add variety in special effects to their normal magic system. Alright. So now it basically gives us some guys to kill. So we've given us a bunch of spells really, really fast, and now it says fight these guys. And these guys really cannot hurt us at all. Like, look at that. Pathetic. So watch this. I'm just going to... People start experimenting. Lightning and fire is always what they use first. And that's great. Because people understand that fire gets used, and lightning gets used. So what they did was they set up these guys to have the feeling that you could see something really cool, that lightning hits multiple targets all at once. That is awesome. They set this up knowing that that might happen, because if they did, you would start seeing something delightful and finding something new. So you try to use lightning, you hit the guy, but it responds in a way that is wondrous, in a way that you would expect lightning to respond normally, but might not have expected in the game. Because if I do lightning normally, whoops, that's water, it just does this. But the fact that it leaps across multiple enemies is a positive moment and a positive element of discovery. It's that, hey, I will try to do this thing, and then not only does it work, but something new and amazing happens. That makes you say, that's a visually rewarding, gameplay rewarding, kills a lot of guys at once, and makes you want to experiment more. They are dripping this early section with things that make you want to experiment more, that reward you for experimenting more. Alright, we're going to open this. Now we got to beat the boss, Beholder. And it's going to teach us the shield spell. This is the final element, shield. It's not really an element, but it's very useful. And it allows them to create a sort of specialized structure. It sort of shapes things in a way that other things don't. Alright, so you're going to see that I'm going to cast the shield spell, and now I can press spacebar to boost it repeatedly, but it's not very effective. Alright, let's get this guy to start shooting at us. Come on. Are you going to do this? You going to do this, man? Alright, now you attack me? Yeah, that'll work. You can see I get a shield, and we have this really tense situation where I'm not actually under any damage. Like, watch. It looks really threatening, but look at this. I'm not actually under any damage at all. So this boss looks really threatening, but you can just do whatever you want to him. You can hit him with your sword, and you'll outkill him. This is really important because people who have played D&D and are genre savvy, who might be interested in this game, know that Beholders, look, it even stun locks him. He can't even fight back. Who are genre savvy might understand that a Beholder is a really, really scary enemy, and the big explosion of bada 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 hits super hard. People taking this guy out think they're under a lot of danger, but in reality they're not. And developers know that because they want to basically create a sense that you've overcome an obstacle. All right, this is creating a lot of noise, so I will just kill this guy. One of the funny things here is you could actually cut this rope and drop a chandelier on him, where he's standing normally, and that kills him instantly, which really rewards you for looking at your environment. Again, you think, hey, could I drop the chandelier? And the answer is yes, you can. The environment is rewarding. All right. I just wanted to do that. So I know some cool spells, obviously. And I just want to show you what you can do. So, because if you die here somehow, and often if you die here, it's because you killed yourself. That's how it works. So I can kill him in a lot of ways. I can actually just set up a thing right now, and he can't possibly, like, even respond. Look at that. And now he's on fire, which is kind of cool. Now he's responding. And let's let him catch on fire and die. Alright. No problem.
Wow! Ni Redba! Gissänk tittar ner Fritzl. Ni vet...
We set the hold down to look
Twitter.
for you. You know, our pet watcher.
Gissar ni missar.
Yes, you must have missed him.
Anywho, sen propp Fellnade, det var nog bra om ni tar Nidu.
We learned Revive. This lets us heal allies. It's useless on yourself. I also learned Crash to Desktop. That's a magic that was given as a sense of the early release. Confuse is a completely trolly one. And Meteor Shower is the most dangerous
Det
thing in the
var
universe.
superbäst ni spatsen nu, innan vi har Archidance.
One of the best things about this improvised dialogue is that it uses English words or English sounding words every now and then for like no reason, which makes you really wonder, is it a foreign language? Is it a real language? It again creates curiosity and interest. So, one of the cool things here is that people wonder, can I kill these guys? And they let you. It's actually a great way to test out the value of your spells while goofily trolling everybody. So I'm going to cast one of my favorite spells, personally, again. Whoops. Messed that up. Ooh, wow, I'm going to kill myself. Alright, I've got spiky armor now. We'll be talking about this more later. But anyway, I'm just going to kill some guys, because I can. And then we're going to end the recording for now, because we've gone through the tutorial, and do another episode on the next parts of Magicka. So, here's where we get to start experimenting, do some cool stuff. See what I did there. We'll talk about that. Talk about that. Talk about that. That's a lot of damage. Alright, so, but again, they create the subversion of, they wonder, can I kill these guys? And you actually can. And I know this partly because I saw Total Biscuit's video of doing this game. It's what made me buy the game in the first place, in which he basically says, can I kill every last one of them? And then he tries this, you can actually kill every last one of them! Fantastic! And the thing about it is people wonder, when they're playing games, can I interact with the world? And if you try to hurt these guys, and it turns out that you can't hurt these guys, it makes you think, okay, I experimented with it, and the world reacted in a way that didn't make sense, and my efforts were for nothing. Whereas by letting you kill them, by letting you attack them without consequence, the game is establishing, yes, you can kill them, you can interact with them, you can do what you want, the thing you're trying to do works, and there won't be any consequences for doing it. You should feel free to experiment. This is a very specific and careful design choice to let you interact with the NPCs this way. It makes no sense with the story, but that's okay, because the tone of the story is super light and super lighthearted. So it allows you to the player to mess around with it this way. Additionally, it sets the context for, if you try something, something will happen. It'll be funny, you should try it. Alright, thanks very much. We're going to walk outside, and I'll see you next time. Bye.